Welcome to a Trucker's Mind podcast. I'm Eddie McGee.
It's your boy K Things.
We're back, man. Episode 317.
Yes, sir.
Let's get right into it. But before we start, we want to shout out our sponsor, Keith's Orange Chicken. Before the podcast, Keith made some homemade orange chicken. It's some of the best orange chicken I've had in quite some time.
Oh, man, I appreciate it.
Yeah, the sauce was right on point. It wasn't, had some orange zest, and we had some rice on the side, and it was a very good play on Asian cuisine.
Yeah.
So I want to shout out Keith's Orange Chicken, and hopefully we can create a good bond and relationship with them to sponsor the podcast.
You know, it's crazy. It was a time where me and my girl, we were like, I had this idea, like, let's, instead of eating out all the time, let's try to create like the fast food experience at our crib. Oh, wow. So we were doing like Crunchwrap Supremes and like different things and just like looking up stuff online, and then I came across that recipe. And
is it PF Change or what is it?
It's based off of like a Panda Express. Like
that shit better than Panda.
Yeah,
that shit was better than Panda, man.
Yeah,
because Panda's got a little bit of the pre-made taste to it. This you could tell this was made on the spot.
Yeah, a lot of chemicals in there.
Yeah, this shit was good. I would say yours tastes more like PF Chang's than Panda.
That makes sense. Yeah,
absolutely.
This time I used a little bit more orange zest in there. And yeah, I think with the Panda too, it has a little bit of a different texture.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it's probably like pre-made everything.
Absolutely.
Just throwing it in there. Yeah.
I say the next one you need to make is orange shrimp.
That'd be fire.
That shit. I had that from PF Chang's. That shit was good.
Is it battered?
Yes, it's battered.
Battered.
But it's got like a different batter than the one that you use. It's got like I guess it's considered maybe an egg batter or something like that. Mm-hmm. It was good.
Yeah.
By the time I got through eating, I was fluent in Chinese. I was like, this is great.
You know, it's one of those things where, like, you know how my family is. We're very particular about our food. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people, and they're not afraid to share their opinions. So definitely, like, you know, when you kind of introducing something new, and I personally, me and my girl, we personally like it.
Almost gave up the government name.
Yeah. Me and my girl, we personally like it, but it is one of those things where, like, you know, we kind of gonna big each other up even if it's 100%. Not that great. So when we introduced it, I was like, I don't know, like it was kind of this. I didn't have the right measurements and stuff.
I'd be a terrible boyfriend because I'm not the type to be an asshole and tell her that it was bad, but I'll be like, yeah, that wasn't it.
No, yeah, we keep it real. Like I'll be like, even sometimes, like, I may not like something as much, like, but she may be like, "No, you tripping? This was good." But yeah, that's how it be sometimes. Yeah, but yeah,
right, man. Yeah. Well, if you guys
appreciate it, bro.
If you guys want to recreate your own recipes, go to KeithsOrangeChicken.com and check out some of the great plans and Chinese cuisine dishes that are best suitable for you and your family. Mm-hmm. All right, let's get right into it. The rap beefs going on. Drake and Rick Ross are the most recent in the whole rap beef saga. And Drake and Rick Ross were like, right, Drake was first and then Rick Ross, right? Or was it the other way?
Yeah. I mean, if you want to do the timeline, it was, I would say it like this. I would say First Person Shooter came out. Yeah. And I don't believe First Person Shooter was a diss. I think people that's calling that as a diss is just like they're reaching. Yeah. But First Person Shooter came out obviously with Drake and J. Cole. Mm-hmm. You know, J. Cole talking about the big three and how he's Muhammad Ali and all this other stuff, right? Mm-hmm. However many months later, Future drops his not his album, but the single comes out like that, and then obviously Kendrick Lamar is on there. He says, you know, F the big three, it's just big me. And then after that, niggas is like, yo, what's happening? Like, is J. Cole gonna respond? Is Drake gonna respond? Drake's on tour, all this other stuff. 7-minute drill comes out. We know how that goes. You know, that was a last week thing. J. Cole apologizes. And then now, we don't even know the name of the song, but, you know, they might be calling it Drop and Give Me 50 or whatever, because it's not officially out yet. It's just like, you know, like a leaked version, I guess. Mm-hmm. And then obviously Rick Ross responds to Drake after that. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, in a nutshell, Drake just had a play on words, calling Kendrick Lamar short, and saying he had little feet and things of that nature. Just and then he mentioned Kendrick Lamar's wife's name subliminally in there. So I don't know where this is gonna go. I think it's inauthentic of just these artists, just because it just seems like they all got on a Zoom call and said, "Hey man, like let's start a beef and let's get everybody involved in it." I think the person and Keith talked about this too. I think the person that's going to win this whole rap beef is J. Cole, because he just bowed out, because it just seems pretty disingenuous to have conflict or rap beef, even though it's just rap. It's just unnecessary. These guys are old. Like Rick Ross is well in his 40s. Fucking Drake's damn near 40. So is Kendrick and J. Cole.
Rick Ross 48.
Yeah, he's 48. Mm-hmm. See, he's close to 50 years old. Like he ain't got no reason even being involved in this.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said, what'd you say?
He damn near 50.
Cuff your girl like I'm Ricky. Like how you jump in, you about to be 50.
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
crazy. Mm-hmm. Rick Ross is like, why you sitting there eating my ribs? I went to Mr. Tibbs. I couldn't find nobody eating tacos. You're like, nigga, I thought this was a diss song.
Pears.
He's talking about food.
Pears.
I was in Paris eating pears.
You know who, which is like kind of sad for me. I was looking at not Afion, but Jay Farrow, a TikTok.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Sounded just like him.
I didn't think so.
Really?
No, not at all. I really didn't think
like
he
him.
sounded like Rick Ross.
He did to me.
I thought his voice, the pitch was a little too high. It wasn't raspy enough. But I don't know. Some people felt like you, like, oh, this is funny. And I was just like, I don't hear Rick Ross. Like, it didn't sound like Rick Ross to me.
It feel kind of like Drake was trying to take a shot at me. But honestly, one of the things I took from it is I wanted to open up a brand new Checkers and get burgers and fries for all my guys. And if a first-person shooter ain't got known on the first-person Sunday, a melted milk Sunday over from Checkers. I was on the Trucker's Mind podcast with K Fings eating that orange chicken, side of ribs.
There you go.
Good.
I like to go to Checkers and get a big Buford.
I was in MIAO eating a big Buford. It was one of them things where I was buying an investment property and I seen J. Cole and like, Jay, what up? And he told me Drake was talking shit. So I said, white boy, what you want to do with Drake? What you want to do with Rick Ross, Rose? I don't know, man. I'm not into this whole, I don't have a lot to say about it because it's still an ongoing thing. So we're going to see where it goes. But I'm not invested in it.
Yeah.
I'm just not invested in it, man, because I'm damn near 40 myself.
Yeah.
So I got real things going on. This is a bunch of rich guys, rich, successful artists with fake beef. I just don't really have much of an investment in it.
I think I'm definitely locked in. Like I'm checking to see what's going on. When the thing had came out, everybody was expecting Drake's response to come out Thursday, because that was the day, normally music comes out like Thursday night or whatever, it'll be 9 p.m. on the West Coast. But it didn't come out, so everybody was just like, oh, okay, guess we got to wait like another week. And then it kind of it was just the weirdest rollout I've ever seen. Excuse me, because Complex had posted this is apparently Drake's response. There's no official word if it's AI or whatever. And then some people was hitting the group chat like, hey, is this AI or is this real or whatever? And then I knew it was real, or I'm not definitively, but I had an idea it was real once it got removed from Complex, because I was like, oh, somebody, some record label or executive is pulling the song down. Universal or whatever is pulling the song down. So who knows? It's a lot. Rap is Hollywood. It's all entertainment at the end of the day. So I feel like Drake's I feel like his camp is too tight for music to leak like that nowadays. I think you could get like like the reference tracks and stuff, those leak because it's exchanging hands with different people, and like Quentin Miller and all those, those guys. Those things happen. But in terms of like Drake, a thing that he recorded himself in the studio, and it was just him, his engineer, and that's pretty much it in the studio. I just don't see that leaking unless he is actually putting it out.
I just think it's all bullshit, man. I think that at some point they all had knowledge of this coming out, and they just did this. And everybody's invested because they don't have a lot of excitement in their own personal lives also. It's not to shit on the average person, but sometimes we overly invest ourselves in things because some of the chatter on the internet is like, see, I knew it was going on because Drake has been sneak dissing for years, and he had it coming. And I'm just like, bro, like, shut up.
That's the thing that I would say I'm invested too, and I'm not like trying to make it sound like I'm any different than anybody else, but I think that there are a lot of people that are like they're invested in a way where like they know definitively like these people's lives. Yeah, it's like, dog, you don't know Drake, you don't know these people, absolutely, you don't know not. This person who they're talking about, you don't know like anything outside of like what's on wax. And I could see that there's an element of like just pure entertainment to it, but I I don't know for sure. But what I will say is that this, like you said, you mentioned J. Cole, I can see this. This is like, I was telling Eddie this at the crib. I was like, when they had, everybody's like, we knew J. Cole and Kendrick was going to keep it just rap. But I was like, when in history has there ever been just like a rap battle that didn't like escalate? Because generally what happens, and I'm not talking about like a bar here and there, like, Jay-Z will, guy like The Game will throw a shot at Jay-Z, and then Jay-Z will respond, a couple years later with a half a bar here or half a bar there, or whatever the case may be. I'm talking about like a competitive rap, beef where they're essentially like, all but saying each other's names. That generally doesn't like, it generally doesn't just stay on wax. The most infamous, rap beefs that we've seen, whether it was like 50 Cent going at Jadakiss and Fat Joe and all that. And I don't know if it, I don't know if that all, stayed on wax or if that, leaked into the streets. But I would say that I think that it's always, people are trying to one up each other, right? So you got like, even when you look at Jay-Z and Nas, Jay-Z thought they was just battling. And then you turn on Ether and it's like F Jay-Z. And it's like, it's like, oh, this ain't just like no rapping beef no more. Like this is something different. So I think J. Cole saw, he had the foresight to see that Drake is going to respond in a way. Rick Ross may not like it. When Future here, he may not like it. And, he was just like, I'm not that invested in this whole beef. Like, I just want to rap. I just want to write dope raps. Kendrick Lamar is actually my friend. Drake is actually my friend. I got relationships with all these different people, Metro and all these different people. So I'm not trying to play both sides, but at the same time, like, I'm just genuinely not as invested as these other people in this beef. So with that being said, I am going to apologize and I'm going to move myself to the side. And then once everybody has shot each other down and niggas is just like, it's a whole shootout, I'm going to just walk right past everybody and then continue to,
ultimately it's all fucking bullshit though. Because the thing, if you think about it, the whole beef, we talked about it, like it's all fun and games and it's rap until it's not. Like you start getting personal, you mention my wife or you say something like that, like it's like you're blurring the lines now. Like if I'm talking about you on a song about how you short or you this or you that or whatever, and then you talk about my kid or you make fun of him or it's like, now I want to fuck you up. We went from rapping to now I want to hurt you.
That's what I'm saying. So it's never just going to be just rap.
So this is why I'm not with the whole rap beef shit, man. Get rich, get money, and be peaceful. Move the fuck on. I'm not entertained by people going back and forth. You could call me like, well, you're not hip hop, blah, blah, blah. Man, look here. I'm 39 years old. I am not invested in it. And I will say this too. The main reason why this shit is dumb is because it's all subjective. No one's probably going to admit if Drake wins it. And if Drake came out with the coldest song ever, some people be like, that was trash. It was trash because Kendrick's initial verse was harder than that. It's like, bro, it's all confirmation bias. You're going to literally say that the person, it could be fucking Kanye saying poopity scoop, and you'll say that Kanye's poopity scoop was harder than Drake's diss track. You'd be like, come on, man. Mm-hmm. Like, so this is why this shit is pointless. It's just people that there are no metrics for determining who won. There's no nothing. It's just a bunch of internet chatter. So this is why I don't get why these artists kind of fell prey to going back and forth to maybe they wanted to shake up hip hop. Maybe they felt it was getting boring. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't really know how you determine who wins anything. Like they're all winners. They won.
I think that I said this last podcast. I said that if there was the same exact song, J. Cole, Kendrick, Drake, they all got the same lyrics, the same beat, the same everything. They went in and recorded a song. Kendrick Lamar's fans would say that J. Cole's song was trash, or Kendrick Lamar's fans would say that Drake's song was trash. Drake's fans would probably say that Kendrick Lamar's song was trash. J. Cole would probably say that, this is not real. It's like that when you have these like super, fan bases, like you said, it nothing is objective at that point. So I think that when Kendrick responds, it's just going to be like the latest thing, right? So, it's like most people are just going to say like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he just did that. So at the end of the day, it's really just nonsense. For me, I'm entertained by it, so I'm not going to act like I'm talking down on the people that are like out there, just kind of like as invested as I am. But I will say that it's just all entertainment, at the end of the day. And I think that, like you said, it's one of those things where, like I made that reference to kids roasting each other at the lunch table. Like, it's all fun and games when the one kid is like, oh, nigga, your shoe's dirty. Oh, nigga, you got your white tee is dingy. Oh, nigga, the collar on your shirt is dingy. And then all of a sudden he's just like, nigga, that's why your mama in the hospital. Or that's why your mama got cancer. Or, it's like they just go, they take it way too far. And then all of a sudden it's like they start to get into a fight. And the one nigga is like, well, you can't beat my ass though. And it's just like a whole thing. So I think that this is leaning towards, especially, with Rick Ross getting involved. And Rick Ross is the same person that was like beefing with 50 Cent for like 3 years straight, where, 50 Cent was like taking his baby mom shopping and, all kind of stuff like that. And yeah, it it gets ugly. Like, and I think that these like podcasters, like guys like Joe Budden and DJ Academics, they're looking at it as like, right now they're looking at it as entertainment. But you got to realize, like, when 50 Cent was beefing with like Lil Wayne and all these people, and they had like those I don't call them like mixtapes, but it was like that not Vlad TV, but Smack DVD era. Where,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, where
50
like,
was making cartoons out of these people.
Yeah,
man.
it was a real thing. Like, like
Officer Ricky.
Yeah, it was
ridiculous.
He was going in on DJ Khaled. I think he had did something that DJ Khaled didn't take a liking to. It might have been something with his family or something like that, with his mom or something like that. But yeah, like these things is Rick Ross is a person that's like, he comes from that cloth, you know what I mean? So I just don't see a world where people, like all sides, come out unscathed. And I think like I said, when we look back on this in retrospect, I think everybody will look at J. Cole as like the smartest person.
Absolutely.
out of all these people.
I think things like this make me appreciate artists like Schoolboy Q a lot more. Only because like he's just like tucked off in his own lane making music. He don't come out all the time, but he's just one of them artists that's just an artist. You know what I mean? He gets the ability to do that and to create and be off to himself. Like, and I was listening to an interview with him recently, and I think he's very appreciative of his position in life. Like, he knows that, you know, he was talking about, like, you know, when he was locked up and he was talking to his girl on the phone, like, when I get out, you know, we gonna have a baby and all of this stuff. And he didn't have no money. He didn't know what he was gonna do. And he's like, I wake up every day. Every morning I wake up and I'm like, man, I got this big ass house. I got a huge bathroom. I got a huge kitchen. Like, every day this shit is a blessing to me. And I know it's like apples and oranges when you talk about this rap beat stuff. But just me personally, I would be too distracted by being blessed to even to be on a track downplaying any of these niggas. I'm not downplaying nobody. I don't care if it's a part of hip hop or not. I'm rich. My objective is to bless others and the people around me. I'm not here doing this bullshit. This shit is weak. That's why J. Cole got out of it. I'm so glad that he did. I think it's time for hip hop to have a rebrand. Like people say, well, hip hop started with people battling and all of this. I talked about this on my podcast. Things evolve whether we like it or not. And I think that we may be in a stage where we're outgrowing this. There's a certain immaturity to hip hop too, where it's like it's this unnecessary riffraff and gossip. Like, get this shit the fuck out of here. Like, if you think about it too, even a guy like Lil Nas X, who was openly gay, he made some hip hop, he made some rap songs, like legitimate rap songs that would have never flew in the 90s. Hip hop was way too homophobic to allow a gay rapper to be in hip hop at all. But that happened. He's like a pop / rap artist, but Lil Nas X, who was openly gay, made a song with Nas, like actual Nas. That shit would not happen in the fucking 90s.
No way.
Ain't no way that would have happened. So
the same person that called Rockefeller Cockefeller?
Thank you.
No way.
Thank you. Yeah. So it's like what he said, we rock something, y'all rock fellas or whatever. So it's like, bro,
Nas was going in.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying, like, the same people that was mad at J. Cole are the same motherfuckers mad at Andre 3000 because he won't drop no bars. They be like, man, he need to put that flute down and give us some bars. Like, an artist should not be limited to what we see them as, man. We got to cut that shit out. What people fail to realize is the reality that's surrounding these artists affect the music, right? So as time progresses, when these men have kids and they go, whatever they're doing, if they're going to college or if they are father or whatever the case, it affects their music. And we just want them to be a circus act all the fucking time. I'm not with that, man. I'm not with that at all. I've learned to appreciate the growth of artists. I think one of the first introductions I had to that was Childish Gambino, a guy that went from just straight rapping to creating like a funk sound. And I appreciate it, man. At first it kind of was like, what?
Yeah. When you turn the album on, you're like, nigga, what is this?
And then it grew on me.
Yeah.
And we went to his concert in 2018 and it was a great concert. I just think we need to learn to appreciate the evolution in different aspects of the artists that we say we like. Because it's crazy how people call him J. Cole, and I have to say this, and this is it's gonna sound fucked up, but I have to say this. A person like J. Cole who will out himself and say, hey, what I did was goofy and I fell prey to societal pressure and I can't downplay a man that I actually respect, right? So when J. Cole comes out and he says that and we shit on him, calling him weak and he's scared and he can't talk about himself as the greatest no more and all of this, right?
Yeah.
Why is it that we have more respect for a guy like DMX, who was an open drug addict and got into trouble all the time, right? And I'm not trying to be fucked up. I'm just speaking facts. We hold him in way higher regard than J. Cole, and he was literally smoking crack for years. And we shit on J. Cole, but we lifted up DMX. And I don't want to speak ill on a man that is dead, but it's the truth. It's a backwards way of thinking. Like, a person that was constantly in turmoil, we lift that up. Like, why don't we enjoy peace? There is a side of hip hop that is just not good, bro.
Oh, for sure. I remember even when DMX was kind of going in on
Drake.
On Drake, yeah. Like if
I don't really
back
like
in the
him.
knife ins, we would have beat him up. Like bring it back to those ads. I don't really like his face. I don't like nothing. I'm just
I don't like nothing about him. I'm thinking like
it's like kind of it's a little much.
It's a little much. And if I'm just speaking, and my thing is this, I don't feel bad for speaking. It's not that I'm speaking bad about DMX. I'm speaking of who a person was. They're like, I love my father, but there's certain aspects of even my own dad where I realized were kind of, not as productive or, had flaws in them. So I'm speaking very generally here. Mm-hmm. When it comes to DMX and him saying like he didn't like Drake, he don't like his face and this and that, like this is coming from a rap artist that openly was smoking crack. Mm-hmm. So you smoking crack saying what you don't like about somebody else. That's fucking fucked up.
That's crazy.
I don't like the way he be singing on songs. Right. You don't like the way he be singing, but then now I know only I can stop the rain. That's not singing DMX. That's not singing DMX.
Yeah.
It's hypocrisy. That's all I'm saying. It's hypocrisy. As a man who loves hip hop in general, whether it's DMX or Drake or motherfucking Mac Miller or whoever else, I just like peace. I like evolution of artists and appreciating the art. I think a lot of people that want to keep shit going, they don't appreciate it as much as they really should. Mm-hmm. But that's neither here nor there. We got to.
Yeah, I would say in closing that I'm here for all of it. I'm gonna be tuned in, and I hear everything that you're saying. And I think, like you said, we're in the midst of it, so we're going to see how this plays out. Hopefully everybody stays safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That was an awkward finish, Keith.
Yeah, man. We talked about it enough. I didn't want to drag it on.
Yeah, because I just hope we didn't drag our listeners down, man. Because sometimes I just feel when the conversation starts to deflate a little bit, it's time to move on.
Yeah.
Because everybody's not into hip hop. Like if
man, this is the biggest. Everybody listen to music.
Everybody listen to music, but I'm just saying, like, I don't like to assume that everyone is up to date on all of the conversation pieces that we have. So right. I try to make them as inclusive as possible so people could kind of generally wrap their mind around what's going on.
Drake is the biggest artist in the world.
It's not just about Drake though. I'm talking about like the nuances of the conversation.
Yeah, but
sometimes you don't want to get caught up. First of all, you don't want to get caught up in speaking over people. Me and you understand what's going on, and there's a certain percentage of the audience and the viewerships that know what's going on. But there's some people that's like, what's going on? What did I miss something?
Yeah.
People got kids and shit, man. They don't catch up all the shit that's going on. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's move on, man. Switching gears. O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson died of cancer at 76 years of age. So what I will say is in regards to him is just O.J. Simpson lived two different lives, man. Prior to the Bronco chase and all of that, he was a running back at USC and he played in the NFL and he was America's like darling. Like he was a sports broadcaster and he lived a whole different life. Like people loved O.J. Simpson. And then after that fucking Bronco chase, his whole life changed. And even though he was not convicted of murdering his wife, Nicole Brown.
And what's the other guy's name?
Oh, not Ron Goldman. Is it Ron Goldman?
I forgot. But yeah.
I forgot who she was.
Another dude.
Yeah. Well, anyway. He was still guilty in the court of public opinion. So regardless if he wasn't charged in that actual crime, people looked at him as a murderer all the rest of those years. But then it didn't help that OJ came out with a book called If I Did It. Like, if basically it was hypothetical, if I did it. It's like, OJ, you got problems, sir.
Yeah.
But oh shit, got the mic all hit me in the mouth. What I wanted to tag along with this shit.
Pause, son.
Huh?
Said pause.
All right, no diddy. What I wanted to tag along is Caitlyn Jenner tagged in on the conversation and basically said,
"Good riddance."
Good riddance. Good riddance. It says hashtag O.J. Simpson, Caitlyn Jenner. And let's see the comments. See what they said. I'm sure the family of that person you ran over can't wait to say the same about you. Ooh, remember that?
Yeah. It was like a vehicular something. Yeah.
And then it's a picture of O.J. Simpson and freaking Bruce Jenner back in the day, and they just sitting there with shades. And then somebody said, I know you're not talking Bruce Jenner sued over a fatal car accident. It's funny how people can't see outside of themselves. Now, what I'm not going to do here is be an advocate for O.J. Simpson, but I don't have to be, because the same motherfucker throwing rocks lives in a glass house. You ran somebody over with a car, okay? Now, don't you dare try to change your gender with me, okay? Don't try to change back to Bruce, because Caitlyn ran that person over, okay? You're not getting over on nobody else.
Oh, I forgot. I actually forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers, what's crazy is what's wild about people is they get so caught up in hyper focusing on someone else's mistake or life or how we perceive them that we forget we living in a glass house.
Yeah.
You got to be careful, man. You got to be careful. And also saying good riddance, like, okay, like you flexing on a dead person now? Like they dead. Like when I said something about DMX right now, I made sure I prefaced the statement and I said, hey, I'm referencing something someone said. And it was not with malicious intent, right? When I said what I said. This motherfucker put good riddance. Like he didn't preface it with anything or nothing. It was just straight like fuck you, basically.
I think we have this this strange culture where we are bringing, every time someone passes away, they're bringing up the lowest moment of these people, of these people's lives. And these are like people that we as a collective adore, like Kobe Bryant. You know, they're bringing up rape allegations. You got, obviously O.J. Simpson, Michael Jackson, another person. They're bringing up these documentaries and the child, situations and stuff like that. So it's we live in this strange space. I think that I would say if Caitlyn Jenner has a personal connection to some of this stuff, and that like that's a story that they know firsthand, and that like it's a little closer to them, I guess I can understand it from that perspective. But I just think the overall conversation, I think it's sometimes it's just better not to say nothing.
No,
I think it's okay for O.J. Simpson to pass away, and you just, for the rest of that day, just keep scrolling. Like you don't have to hit the little plus button and write a post. Like you could just move on with your life. And I think that a lot of people, I want to personally give people permission to have personal conversations. Like people think that they need to share their thoughts. Like, back in the day when Twitter used to say, like, it said something like, what's on your mind or something like that. And I think people, took that literally, like they were literally answering that question. But I just want people to know that it's okay for me to call Eddie and be like, man, this nigga O.J. Simpson did this or this and blah, blah, blah. But, I don't have to run to a podcast. I don't have to run to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Reddit or whatever and just like spill all my personal thoughts about a certain situation. Like it's just not it. Like I don't know, people are like drawn or addicted to like expressing everything about every situation. So you can have a strong opinion, but just like it don't have to be on. You don't have to put it online.
This motherfucker ain't got no excuse. Caitlyn Jenner is 74 years old. That's 2 years younger than O.J. Simpson. You are closer to the grave than anybody else. Okay, so like. You shouldn't try to flex on a motherfucker that's dead because we all gonna die. Can you imagine that? What if Caitlyn passed and then somebody starts saying a bunch of transphobic shit over the grave? Like that's not. It's you gotta think about it, bro. You cannot do that, dog. You better off not saying shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what you do with motherfuckers you don't like. You ain't got nothing to say.
Nothing.
Like okay,
you're almost giving it too much energy when you are saying something if you don't like a person.
You giving a person power by doing something like this. Mm-hmm. If you really don't like them. Mm-hmm. If you ever hear somebody like, this is what I learned about people in general, not just women, but if you ever hear a woman say some shit like, I can't stand my ex. I hate my ex, whatever. Mm-hmm. Whenever anyone has any emotion towards someone that is not active in their life or they have a past with that person, they still got feelings for them. And I'm not even talking about like romantic feeling. I'm talking about feelings in general, like feelings, hate, love. It's all a feeling. So that's a red flag. If you really don't fuck with somebody, you nothing them. You nothing people. You don't love them. You don't hate them. You don't have any malice towards them. You nothing these people. There's people in my past that they didn't rub me the right way, but I don't have a relationship with them. I don't call them. They don't call me. They have no role in my personal life. So fuck them. The fuck am I look like flex on a motherfucker that's not around or dead? Come on now, man. Like, that shit corny. Mm-hmm. That's corny. And then you hit somebody and kill them and you got the nerve to talk about somebody? Think about how much of a bigger piece of shit you got to be. Mm-hmm. Right? You got to be the biggest piece of shit ever. Mm-hmm. And you know what's crazy? There was a time where everybody was a super like afraid to say something about Caitlyn Jenner. Like, oh, Caitlyn's trans and it's wrong to say anything. Look here, homie. You want to talk about equality? Let's talk about it. Okay? You hit somebody with a car. I don't care if you was wearing a dress when you did it. You hit somebody with a fucking car and you got the nerve to talk about O.J. Simpson? At least O.J. was acquitted for his charge. Okay?
Yeah.
Your motherfucking ass is still up in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. But hey, it also could be, this could be based off of, like, if somebody like Harvey Weinstein, if he died and motherfucker wrote Good Riddance, I think people would probably feel the same way though.
What would be different than O.J. Simpson?
It wouldn't be different, but I think society, as a society, people would feel a little different about Harvey, just because there's a more of an emotional reaction to that. Mm-hmm. Like if R. Kelly was to die.
She also responded. She said, "I know y'all." Sorry to jump to a different space, but she said, "Caitlyn Jenner, I know you all think it's cute to compare a fatal car accident." With multiple vehicles involved to a brutal murder. But remember, OJ said something to the effect of, I could not kill her, Nicole, and get away with it because I'm OJ. He said, I could kill her, Nicole, and get away with it because I'm OJ Simpson.
I mean, but the problem with saying things like that is this. For one, OJ Simpson is not here to defend himself, so that's one thing. Another thing is there's nobody here to sue your motherfucking ass. So you can't just put murder on somebody that was not convicted. Mm-hmm. You can literally be sued for defamation doing shit like that. Mm-hmm. And you're not using the word allegedly in front of it either. Mm-hmm. You just saying a motherfucker killed somebody and you not using alleged in front. You know how this shit goes, bro. Like there's probably not nobody in OJ's corner that cares enough to do that.
Yeah, I would say that me personally, I don't know enough about the actual details of the car crash to make that comparison. But yeah, I just think that, like you said, this is a situation where it's just okay not to say nothing.
Absolutely.
Like O.J. Simpson passed away. If you don't got, that's it's kind of crazy that like some of these cliches ring true in times like these, but they always say like if you ain't got nothing good to say, don't say nothing. So you could read and have the conversations, but it doesn't have to hit the timeline. I
agree and disagree with that. They say sometimes what you got to say, it ain't good, but it's necessary.
Yeah, I mean in general, I'm talking about this situation.
Yeah.
Like if you don't got nothing good to say about O.J. Simpson, then like you could just move on with your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, in this scenario, that's where that stands up. Mm-hmm. But like speaking outside of that, I think I've learned that it's absolutely necessary to say some shit to motherfuckers sometimes, and it may not be good, but they need to fucking hear it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you need to take care of your kids, man. Mm-hmm. That's not the most nicest thing to say, but it's like, motherfucker, if you got kids and you ain't taking care of them, take care of your kids, motherfucker.
No, that's facts.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and jump ship from this shit, man. Mm-hmm. Switching gears. K Michelle recently mentioned she does not like when men cry in front of her, and this is what she said. Actually, let me get the audio up. I think you sent it to me, actually.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Let's see what's.
I just don't want men to cry because then I don't feel protected.
For my last ex, he cried.
You like it? I would like to be better about that, you know? Like, I don't want to see.
I don't mind them crying, though. I think they should be able to be vulnerable.
I do. I think men should be able to cry and be vulnerable.
Yeah.
But for some reason, once they cry, you know what happens to me? I turn into the man.
No, you make my grown one.
When they cry, I be like, like that, like.
It depends on what they're crying about. So if they had a death in their
If
family,
we both cry,
their mom passed.
I get it, family. Oh, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about like if something don't go their way, like a cry.
Oh, no.
But like if someone die in your family and things like that, then
What if
you
they having a
be,
bad, no.
and you know, like having a bad, like.
Yeah. All right. I had enough of her talking.
That first of all, that video is kind of weird. Like the way she just grabbing her titties.
Yeah,
is
she's
kind of
like
weird.
rubbing her titties on the video. I don't know what the fuck she's doing.
Yeah, I feel like she might have did a little bit of drugs before that video recorded. Yeah.
Yeah, she said, I feel like if we both crying, then like who's the man, who's the woman? First of all, when you ever hear somebody speaking like this, understand that they will never, ever in their life attract a functional partner with that thought process. Life gets hard sometimes, and as men, sometimes we go through shit. You need to be with a woman who understands that. If you can never display your emotions ever, you can't fuck with this woman, and you shouldn't trust her either. Period. Am I saying you need to be crying every other 5 seconds? Fuck no, because now you're just an emotional wreck. But what I am saying is that when you are going through something, you should be with a woman who understands it and cares about you enough to sit there and find out what's going wrong. It should be of great concern to a woman you're dating or you're married to if you going through it. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that says like, I mean, who is the man if I can't cry? You must want to date a fucking psychopath or sociopath, because that's the only people that's not crying.
Yeah, I would be curious to see like the specific example that she's talking about, because she did. I think it does matter because she's talking about like she's saying like it's not like about death in the family. She said like she mentioned like if something didn't go their way, and I think that I think there's some situations where like you just kind of like gotta suck it up in a sense, like and I don't know what she's saying. Like maybe she's talking about, you know, like she's dealing with people on a different level, like, you know, like
even then she said if it's death in the family, I guess.
Yeah, but I don't know, like she be dealing with like hoopers and stuff like that, so she might be crying. Like some nigga might be like, man, the coach not putting me in the game, man. I'll be working hard. I'll be at practice and like, you know, like coach. What's the Lakers coach name? Coach Darvin Ham. Yeah, Coach Ham not putting me in the game, man. And she just like sobbing, and she just like she like calling him the B word because the nigga is like sensitive. You know, I think that I don't think there's a place for it, but I guess I'm just saying like I would be curious to know what like the real world example is in this situation.
I'm gonna be blunt, ladies. If a man is not showing you any form of anything emotional about you, he don't give a fuck about your ass, and he don't trust you to share anything with you. So there is a disconnection of emotions. He might be talking to his friends or somebody else about what he's going through, but he don't trust your motherfucking ass. That's something you should really consider. So when she's saying, I don't trust a man that's crying and all of that, well, maybe that's because you don't get access to men like that. That's probably one of the reasons why. Nobody's talking about that. But a lot of times, even the most beautiful, attractive, successful women, they are not allowed access to certain men because of the lack of depth that they have within themselves. You don't have access to everybody as a man or woman just because you got money or you look good or whatever. There is a restriction that you will get. Like there's so many beautiful women that get treated like dirt. And they get treated like dirt because they attract dirt. That is just human nature. Mm-hmm. You only can get as deep as you are. Every person that we deal with is a direct reflection of our own maturity. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. If you dealing with low dwelling people, your energy was down here and your maturity is right there. So if you saying that you don't want a motherfucker crying, that's because that's the motherfuckers you really attract. You can't attract a man that is that is emotionally aware. Because I don't cry very often at all personally, but that's not because, I'm so tough. I just can rationalize things a lot better. Everything is not worth tears.
Yeah.
My father passed. Sometimes I think about that, and that shit'll have me crying. But life is like, if you cried about what was happening in your life, you would cry all day. There's so many elements of life that can depress you. You have to be able to rationalize your thoughts and rationalize what's happening in your life. And then from there, you'll be okay. Mm-hmm. But it would be unattractive. I'll be honest. It's unattractive with anyone who doesn't have any control over their emotions.
Yeah,
that's annoying.
That's kind of what I was alluding to. It's like that overly sensitive stuff is like,
it's too much.
The world is like, it's too much going on. Like, it's real stuff going on out here for you to be like, just like so emotional about everything. So that's kind of what I get that. So if and I, like I said, I need to know the real example. I need to know who she's talking about and what scenario she's talking about. Obviously, if it's like a death in the family or, whatever, like, those situations where it's like more common for people to cry. Like I get like, the understanding of, but there's also a situation, where, I've like been around certain people and, they've been very emotional and crying and stuff like that. And I've, thought to myself, like, this is just not that. It's just like, you're like you're bringing the emotion to, like, you're bringing the drama to this situation. And not that I would call them the B word, but like in my own version, I'm just kind of like, this is an overreaction. Mm-hmm. But yeah, but I also on the other end of that, like, vulnerability in a relationship is like it. I think it's healthy. It's not. I wouldn't say it's not normalized. I think that. Excuse me. I think that a lot of this is newer inside of like relationships. I think our parents and grandparents and great grandparents, they grew up in generations where it was like, there just wasn't any vulnerability. It might have been like, hey, I'm talking to my girlfriends about this, but in terms of like the actual marriage or the actual relationship, like it wasn't no space for like the man to come home and say, hey, this is what I'm dealing with, or this is how I'm feeling today, or this happened to me as a kid, and because of that, like, it hurts when this happens, or this trigger, that wasn't a common conversation back then. But I think nowadays, like, that's the healthy version of a relationship, because you kind of know people a little bit more. You know somebody more intimately. I would say, even for myself, that I'm not a person that does like those small emotions. You know what I mean? Like, I can express the big stuff, like, hey, this person passed away, this is how I feel about it, whatever. But like this small, like this person made me angry at work. Like, I think to me that's like a little bit trivial. So it is that I kind of like, that's kind of how
you just process those things and rationalize them and move the fuck on.
Yeah,
you don't need to trauma dump those small things on people. And I will say women are more guilty than men with that. Is that, and I'm not trying to invalidate women, but a lot of times you guys go through things and you're just dumping it and you're dumping it. And then on top of dumping it, you don't want a resolution. So you don't want a solution to it. So you expect men to just listen to that and not offer you a solution. And then when we offer you a solution, now it's a problem. Like, I just want you to listen. Okay, cool. I'll listen, but I'm not a therapist. I'm a man, and I'm trying to offer a solution. There's nothing wrong with offering a solution to somebody you care about.
Yeah. It's almost like, I think that people are trying to, like, how would they say it? Like, they want to give a statement or something like that. But then they want to, like, curate the response.
You can't do that.
Yeah, it's like, there's no right or wrong way, like, to respond. And then sometimes I think people need to realize that, like, somebody offering you advice is love. sometimes. Like if somebody is like trying to help you in the way that they know how, that's a form of them like showing you like, I don't want you to feel like this, so I'm offering you a solution.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of times it's just like psychological like jargon that like people be throwing, like, you know, that stuff that you said. Like people don't naturally feel that way. I don't think a person growing up, if I came to you or to my mom or whatever, and my mom does this a lot, and I kind of get like why like some people say like they don't necessarily need like a like advice or like, you know, a solution or something like that, because sometimes they're just like expressing something or they're just saying something. But I think like a lot of that is just learned from like freaking infographics on Instagram or like, you know, TikToks or whatever from these like social media gurus that think they know like mental health and all this stuff like that. But yeah, I think if I'm like, dang dog, like I can say something like I really been trying to you know, just get my weight down, man. Like I gained a little bit of weight over the past 4 or 5 months, and I've really been trying to get my weight down. Like, why would that just be like a conversation? If you just was sitting there like, man, I completely understand that you're trying to get your weight down. And I'm like, yeah, man, you know, I've been trying to like, you know, I've been trying to cut back on the food, but the food is just too good, man. The food is just too good. And you'd be like, yeah, man, I completely understand. Food is very delicious, and sometimes it could be very difficult to turn it down. It's like, that's like so stupid.
You just want me to validate you at that point.
It's like, that's so dumb. Like, why would anybody talk like that? It's just like, oh yeah, like, bro, what you got to do, you got to get in the gym. You go over here. This membership is this much, or like I got a program that I follow, or, you know, I actually do this, or I meal prep like this. And it's just like, that's like productive conversation.
I don't want to incentivize your lack of self-awareness. So what I want to do is say, instead of even offering you advice, offering someone advice can be offensive because they think that you are assuming they don't know what they're doing. So I feel like constructive criticism is a better thing. Whereas, you know, but what I'm not going to do is just receive something from you. And if I see something where you could be more accountable, I'm going to mention that because it's important. We got too many motherfuckers that be like, this happened and this person's doing this and this person's doing this and that's happening and this and this. It's not always that black and white. A lot of times people present problems in a way to where they remove themselves from it. They're speaking from a lens that somebody is bringing them problems. But it's like, what are you doing? Are you facilitating that issue? What are you doing? Like the motherfucker saying, I'm trying to lose weight. Stop eating, nigga. This is that simple.
Yeah.
You eating way too many calories and you want me to fucking be like, I understand.
Yeah.
Like all I'm doing is I'm just giving you more of a reason to eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that shit is. Oh, I'll also say this. It sucks, and we talk about conditions for men to cry, like if it's a death in the family, if it's this, if it's that, that. But let's be clear here. What's also sad is the fact that men need conditions to cry. Crying is a human reaction. If a man was just, everything was going fine in his life, and everything was good, and his family was taken care of, and he had money in his bank account, and he was driving a nice car, and he just started crying, ain't nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Like if he said, I'm just so blessed and thankful what's going on, and he just start crying, can you imagine how somebody else could interpret that? They could be like, why is he crying? I don't get it. Yeah. Like, men are not supposed to cry. He's crying tears of joy because he is blessed that his family is taken care of. But somebody could be perceiving that as weakness. And that's what I don't like. The fact that men need conditions for them to cry. I got to lose my dad for me to be able to cry?
That's true.
That's like, come on, man. What the fuck is going on here? I'm not saying, and I feel two ways. Two things are true.
Yeah, that's how I'm kind of both ways about it. Yeah.
I mean, look, man, I don't think you should be trauma dumping and crying all over the place. But I also think it's fucked up how men have to have special conditions to be normal. I don't give a fuck if a dude is 300 pounds, all muscle, and he lift weights 5 times a week. If that nigga need to cry, let him. Get tired of people, man. Like, oh man, that's for the man's weak. many weeks. Man, I know dudes that'll cry and beat your motherfucking ass.
I will say though, that it's like this conversation is great, and you know it's been sparked by, what's her name again?
K. Michelle.
The
person that can't stop rubbing her tits in the fucking video.
Yeah, she's just like, I just don't know. Like, when a nigga be crying and just like make me want to rub my titties.
My nipples be crazy.
Yeah, y'all got to watch the video. It's just, it is very weird. But I think that men, we have to do a much better job of actually finding a partner that allows you to be vulnerable. Because there's a version, and she not married, so, you know, she not really, she obviously ain't doing something right. So, like, when it comes to, you know, women that kind of think like that and think that, you know, that a man, you know, they don't really give men a safe space to cry, then that means, like, that's not the person for you. If you're a person that just, like, hold your emotions in and, you know, you're not really vulnerable, you know, I don't really think that that's healthy anyways. But I just think that, you know, I think it's great to like have these conversations because it lets people know that it's normal for men to have like emotions and be vulnerable and, you know, stuff like that. But it's also important to know that like you don't have to date this person. Like you can actually date a person that like is, you know, in touch with their own emotions and allows you to be vulnerable and, you know, gives you a safe space to like cry or gives you a safe space to cry tears of sadness or tears of joy or, you know, to, you know, like I was mentioning earlier, if you're not getting playing time on a basketball team and you crying because you've been trying so hard, like, you know, there is a woman out there that will give you that safe space.
And you could be crying because it's coming from a legit place, not because you're not trying. You're giving your best and you're a competitor and it's eating you up so fucking bad that you want to, it's like your attempt to be great is what's making you cry. Mm-hmm. And I think it takes a mature person to see that shit. Like, man, I'm working so hard. I'm giving it everything I got. I'm doing 2-a-days and practices, and I'm still not seeing nothing. I'm giving it everything I got. You could have a motherfucking mental breakdown, bro. Mm-hmm. It's almost like, you know, when you working your hardest, you working 3 jobs, and you still can't pay your bills or something. It's like, man, I'm not going to stress over bills, but like, goddamn, something's got to give. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't take care of my son. Mm-hmm. It's people going through real shit, man. Mm-hmm. Ooh, excuse me. Damn. Keith's orange chicken is backfiring like I take all that shit back. All right, man, let's go ahead and switch gears here and go ahead and wrap this thing up, man. Because my allergies are killing me, folks. We wanted to have a longer pod, man. We got in the studio a little later today, man. Mm-hmm. So we apologize. Where we at, Keith? Like 40?
58 minutes.
58. Okay. Mm-hmm. Recently, switching gears. Protester who threatened to murder Bakersfield City Council members weeps in court as she faces over a dozen felony counts. This goes to show you that freedom of speech isn't free.
12, dang.
So let me
12.
Let me go and see what she said.
We'll see you at your house. We'll murder you.
Hold on, let's go back.
You guys want to criminalize us with metal detectors? We'll see you at your house. We'll murder you.
She was talking to the mayor, wasn't she?
She's talking to city council members.
City council member.
So now let me.
I think she was talking to the mayor though.
Protester who threatened to murder Bakersfield City Council members weeps in court as she faces over a dozen felony counts. This is incredibly satisfying. This was some dude wrote here. I hope one day somebody brings the guillotine and kills all of you motherfuckers, Reedy Patel said. Hours later, she was crying in court. According to Bakersfield Police Sergeant Eric Caladon, Patel is facing over a dozen felony counts.
Dang.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this though. I'm gonna say this. Even though it was fucking stupid, it's an overreaction. 12 felony counts. You only getting 12 felony counts because you did it to the fucking city council. If you did that shit to somebody out in public, you would not get these charges. But they wanted to make an example out of this young lady. I'm not excusing nothing she did because it was fucking ignorant. But 12 felony counts? 12?
I mean, the laws are stricter when you're talking about, you know, government, officials and stuff.
Man,
like
listen here, man. The reason why I feel this way is because whether it's city council or the police department or the judicial system in general, they lack integrity. Because you could be a police officer out here, steal evidence, and get probation, whereas my uncle goes to prison for like almost 13 fucking years for a drug charge. So why is it that a police officer who breaks the law gets a slap on the wrist compared to my uncle? That does not make any fucking sense. I just think that what happens is these guys, it's the biggest issue with the judicial system is it's not even. You go in there, what she did was ignorant. I can't justify that. But 12 felony counts, that shit's wild. That's wild.
You're threatening to kill somebody, though.
You threaten to kill somebody, but it's like, dog.
I'm not absolving nobody that's threatening to you in the freaking, like, what do they call that thing? The little C-SPAN area?
Yeah. I know what you mean. The boardroom?
Yeah, like that's nonsense. I'm not even going to try to make me personally, I'm not trying to make no comparison as to why it's harsh or not harsh or whatever. That's stupid.
I'm going to tell you something. A dude got busted for a PPP loan recently. He got $21,000. They want to give him 30 years.
God dang.
You can't tell me that's not excessive.
Yeah.
That's fucking excessive. So I think we need to have an understanding in this country what's excessive punishment, because I think that sometimes they want to throw the book at people. There's some motherfuckers that can shoot 3 people and they get 2 years plus probation. Mm-hmm. You're like, what? Well, it's like a travesty of justice for some people.
I don't think there's ever going to be, because it's all subjective. That's why it
shouldn't be.
It's always going to be bad when you have a range. Like when you have these like when you see like people fighting cases and they say like he's facing a murder charge and he can get up to 35 years or something like that, or like anywhere from like 5 to 35. It's just like that range is like wild.
Yeah, it's stupid.
And then that's where all of the judge, he's literally a judge.
Yeah.
The person's judging the people that's being, accused of doing certain things. Like that's where all of their, I guess, expertise or whatever biases and all. But it's like you're bringing a human being into the equation. So there's always going to be like, I won't call it error, but there's always going to be that the judgment involved, because this person judging the person that's doing said crime is bringing in the way the place in which they grew up, that they grew up in the suburbs, that they grew up in the hood, more likely the suburbs. Bless you.
Thank you.
Because I don't see, many people that's growing up in like impoverished neighborhoods growing up to be judges. Their ethnicity, they're bringing that into the trial. They're bringing their perspective on the community or the people that look like. They're bringing all of this into the courthouse when they're sentencing these people. So I just don't ever see a world like we would have to completely wash the way that we the whole judicial system, but like I just don't ever see a world where like a black man is going to get the same time as a white man when you're bringing in like human beings and they have a range of time that you could give these people. I don't see it. And not to say that it's right. I'm just saying I don't see it right now.
The biggest issue too is each state runs its fucking state like its own country. It's like, since this is completely illegal in Texas, we penalize this for every piece of meth. We penalize it for 12 years. It's like, this shit is just backwards. It's just a range. It's not only ranges, but there's no real just metric. It's always like one guy got 5 years for the same crime. A motherfucker got 20. One dude got 25. It's like, bro, no. I even though what she did was wrong and said she was going to come to their house and kill them, they could have locked her up. She could have got, I don't know, Lord knows what, but not that. Mm-hmm. That many felonies, bro, that's serious time. Mm-hmm. That's serious time. Like, I don't know what she's looking at, but she ain't looking at no less than 5 years with that shit.
God dang. Yeah. Her bail is set at $1 million.
See what I'm saying? For words, nigga. Like, for words. For words. And my thing is this is why, like, freedom of speech ain't free when it's considered a threat.
God dang. They show that before and after.
Yeah,
she was
crying
up there
like a
talking she up there talking greasy.
Hey folks, this is why you don't bring internet language to reality. And I'll explain what I mean.
I got a question. Nah, never mind. I'll let you rock. My bad.
God damn it, Keith. All right. You don't bring internet language into reality. And what I mean by that is this. The shit that y'all be typing in comment sections, you cannot say that to the police.
She thought she could.
Y'all motherfuckers be on the internet talking about like, well, if you believe in that, I'll come to your house and kill you. You can report that person on social media, but it won't always go to the police. Mm-hmm. They'll either ban that person's account or they'll block them or they'll suspend them, whatever the case. It'll be some internet slap on the hand a lot of times. Mm-hmm. But man, you go out talking that shit in public, bro, your ass is grass.
Yeah, you can't be talking to Karen Go like that.
Nah, man, I seen those protesters that was like, cease fire now. Mm-hmm. I guess they were protesting for Palestine. Mm-hmm. I hate to say this, and I got to be blunt when I say this. Any cause you stand for, especially if it's just, like, nobody wants a genocide. Let's be very clear when I state that. Mm-hmm. But you don't go to Bakersfield City Council to do that.
It's not the place.
It's not the place to display that. I understand you're emotional, but don't be stupid. Go to the right place. Like, go to the White House and do that. That's where you go. Go to the White House and do that. You don't do that.
Face all over TV.
Like, don't do that here, bro. That's dumb. Why are you saying ceasefire to a local city council? They can't do anything. It's apples and oranges. Mm-hmm. This nigga, that's like going to Burger King and asking for a motherfucking Subway sandwich. Mm-hmm. They can't help you, man. Mm-hmm. That's dumb.
And they gonna make an example. I mean, it sucks to say that you have to make examples out of people, but they don't want nobody else going up there thinking that you can threaten a city council member or Karen Go or whoever is the active mayor. They not playing around with that at all.
Nah.
So, Riddhi Patel, she crying up there. She showing emotion. She being vulnerable. But yeah, she gonna be getting her hair braided in between somebody's legs and in a prison somewhere.
I don't know, man. She Indian. Indians be having bread. Somebody gonna put that $1 million up.
But she gonna get convicted still.
Yeah.
And there ain't even no case at this point. It's just about how much time she gonna serve.
Can you imagine like saying you gonna kill somebody and then you get in there and that's why you locked up?
That's crazy.
That's the dumbest shit. You went from being
you in prison with actual murderers, and you are there. They're gonna be like, "What you do to get in here?" I told somebody that I was gonna kill him. They gonna be like, "What?" Like I threaten people every day. That's crazy.
It's like, come on, man. It's like, yeah, I threatened to kill somebody. What are you in here for? I killed my Uber driver. And now that's your bunkie now? That's your cellmate that actually murdered somebody and you in here for words? Sometimes it's what you don't say. That's the most smartest thing that you can do.
What was your classic line? You said, I hope you get the day you deserve or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I hope you get the day you deserve. You can take, because that right there can be taken any way. Like if somebody disrespect you bad, like, hey man, you know what? I hope you have the day you deserve. Mm-hmm. That'll fuck them up. They'll be like, what'd you say, motherfucker? It's like, well, your guilt told you that I said that you deserve a bad day. I didn't say that. You just know you a piece of shit.
Dang. Sorry, I was reading this thing.
What the details?
The statement that she said. She said, I remind you that these holidays that we practice, that other people in the global South practice, believe in violent revolution against their oppressors, and I hope one day somebody brings a guillotine and kills all of you mother effers. God dang.
Yeah, that's just ignorant.
Yeah.
That's a terrorist threat.
I do see what you're saying though, as far as like, I don't know who she is, but she probably is like a social media activist. So she probably is that same person that's getting under people's comments on Twitter or Instagram or under people's posts and responding to certain things. Yeah, it's having this type of statements, and she bringing this into the real world, and yeah, they gonna tax you for sure.
Yeah, you have to watch. Some dude I commented on the topic of J. Cole and whatnot, and I said, man, I just said like it was actually Maul from Roy and Maul podcast. I said it's crazy how somebody is triggered by someone choosing their piece. And then some dude commented on there. He said, "Man, take your panties down, bro. Such and such. Like, why are you getting all frustrated over that? Like, you wanted the people to." And then I said, "Bro, you need to watch what you say to people on social media.
Mm-hmm.
You need to watch your mouth."
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody was like, "Oh wow, why are you acting like a girl? Like you wouldn't be talking to me like this in person. You wouldn't do it." That's why I watch my words. I don't get on there. If I display like satire or crack a joke or something, it's very clear that that's what I'm there to do. But I'm not there to be reductive or speak crazy to another man. I'm just not going to do that. Mm-hmm. That's fucking crazy, man.
Unless you're willing to deal with the consequences.
Man, yeah, that's bad. Like telling a grown man to drop his panties is a crazy talk.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, man, that's insane.
Yeah, I think this is actually great. I think that this is like letting people know that like your words they have real weight out here. And if I'm that council member and she threatened the mayor was up there to my knowledge. If she's threatening the mayor of Bakersfield and I am that council member and I actually know the judge here, like I'm probably like they're probably in the same country club, like whatever, or they may have been to dinner a couple times together or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. I'm like, it's a layup. We got actual video footage of this person. They got a public defender. Her bail is already at $1 million. I'm giving them the nudge, like, yo, like, throw the book at this person, because you cannot get away with they not letting you clean up the freaking California 99 if you threatening the mayor of Bakersfield.
Nah, hell no.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, they're gonna make an example, and then to make it worse, and we gotta add this element in there. She is a brown person. She is Indian. Yeah. So when people are going to push that,
that's a whole nother world of racism right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm not excusing what she said. But you got to realize how some people think, man. People have a very juvenile thought process. They'll look at somebody brown that's saying something like that and be like, "Oh, I knew she was a terrorist." That's how motherfuckers think, man. You can't, you know what I'm saying? You can't excuse that thought process. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that they were thinking that way, but I'm not saying they wasn't. Mm-hmm. And that's just how it is, man.
Yeah.
Like it's I don't know. It's just how the human psychology is set up. But man, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up, man. Yeah. Before I implode from these damn allergies, man. Mm-hmm. All right, before we close this thing down, thank you guys for listening to a Trucker's Mind podcast. This podcast has been sponsored and endorsed by Keith's Orange Chicken. Keith's Orange Chicken is a family favorite.
Family favorite.
Made in Mid-City, Bakersfield. Keith's Orange Chicken is made with love, compassion, and integrity. Taking care of families since 1992. To a family near you. Keith's Orange Chicken. Oh, man. What's the jingle for that shit, man? Keith's Orange Chicken. Bringing it down and coming to town with Keith's Orange Chicken. Lemon and orange zest, and we're just the best. Orange chicken. Yeah, man. All right, let's wrap this shit up. If you made it to the end of this episode, we appreciate you. Thank you for listening to a Trucker's Mind podcast. I'm Eddie McGee.
It's your boy K Fings.
We're out of here.
Peace.